Welcome back, everyone. Today we're talking about something that's making a real difference in pediatric therapy centers: sensory wall panels. These aren't your typical waiting room decorations. They're actually therapeutic tools designed to help anxious kids find calm naturally. Joining me is an expert who's seen firsthand how these panels work in clinical settings. So let's start with the basics. What exactly are sensory wall panels, and why are therapy centers investing in them?
Great question. Sensory wall panels are specialized, high-durability installations built specifically for therapy environments. Think of them as interactive stations mounted on walls that provide controlled sensory input. We're talking tactile textures, visual elements like spinning discs, and auditory features such as bells. They're crafted from sturdy materials, beech and birch wood, non-toxic finishes, so they can handle the constant use in high-traffic clinics. Unlike those consumer busy boards you might buy online, these are clinic-grade tools designed with occupational therapy goals in mind.
Clinic grade, that's an important distinction. So these panels are really built to last and to serve a therapeutic purpose. What kind of benefits are therapists seeing when kids interact with these panels?
The benefits are pretty multifaceted. First, they strengthen fine motor skills. When a child manipulates gears, slides locks, or moves beads through a maze, they're working those finger muscles and improving dexterity. Second, they provide sensory integration, controlled visual, tactile, and auditory input that helps kids with autism or ADHD channel restless energy and self-regulate. Third, there's the cognitive piece. Color mixing wheels and puzzles encourage problem solving. And finally, emotional regulation. These panels often serve as a calming station where kids can reduce anxiety and avoid overstimulation in waiting rooms or treatment spaces.
That's 4 solid areas right there: motor, sensory, cognitive, and emotional. Have you ever wondered how something as simple as a wall panel can hit so many developmental targets at once?
Right. It's pretty fascinating when you break it down. The key is intentional design. Each element on the panel is chosen to target specific skills. For example, a tactile slider might work on fine motor control and cause and effect understanding at the same time. These skills, hand-eye coordination, visual tracking, cause and effect, they're all foundational for bigger tasks like handwriting, self-care routines, and even classroom participation. I actually had one young patient who was terrified of waiting rooms. Once we installed a sensory wall in the lobby, he'd go straight to it and calm himself down before sessions. It became his safe spot.
That's powerful. So it's really about layering those developmental goals into one tool. Now, I know a lot of therapy centers are working with kids on the autism spectrum or with ADHD. How do sensory wall panels specifically support those populations?
For autistic children, predictability is huge. These panels offer repeatable, predictable sensory experiences, which provides a sense of security and control. A child knows what to expect when they approach the panel. No surprises. That routine is calming. For kids with ADHD, the panels offer a socially acceptable outlet for sensory-seeking behaviors. Instead of pacing or hand flapping, they can engage with the panel, which helps them focus and reduces disruptive behaviors. Structured sensory wall breaks, short scheduled interactions, can actually improve focus during therapy sessions and ease transitions between activities. So they're calming tools, yes, but they're also regulation tools. Two sides of the same coin.
That point about regulation tools and structured breaks sets up our next piece: best practices for integrating these into a full therapy program. But first, a quick word from our sponsor.
This episode is brought to you by Little People's Cove. They specialize in sensory wall panels and wall-mounted activity toys designed for pediatric offices, dental waiting rooms, therapy clinics, and medical reception areas. These hands-on wall activities help children stay engaged while they wait, supporting sensory development, focus, and independent play without the clutter of loose toys. Little People's Cove helps transform everyday waiting spaces into calm, engaging environments that comfort children and reduce stress for families. Learn more at www.littlepeoplescove.com.
Picking up on those regulation tools, how should a therapy center actually integrate sensory wall panels into their day-to-day operations and treatment plans?
Best practice is to involve your occupational therapists from the start. They should help select panels that align with specific therapeutic goals, like Panel A is for pre-writing warm-up, Panel B is for tactile discovery for sensory seekers. You can cluster several complementary panels along a corridor or create a regulation wall near therapy rooms so therapists can use them before or after sessions. It's also important to establish clear protocols, constant supervision, time limits, and integration into each child's sensory diet or treatment plan. You don't want it to be a free-for-all. It should be purposeful.
Exactly. So there's more to it than installing them and walking away. There's a real strategy involved. What about safety and hygiene? I imagine those are top concerns in a clinical setting.
Absolutely. Panels need rounded edges, secure wall mounting, and no loose small parts. They should be made from non-porous materials that can withstand frequent disinfection. Wipe-clean surfaces are a must in shared environments. And professional installation is highly recommended, especially in high-traffic medical areas, to make sure everything's securely anchored. You really don't want anything coming loose when a child is interacting with it. Let's be honest, kids are incredibly creative when it comes to testing durability.
Right, exactly. Now let's talk about design. Are there specific features therapy centers should prioritize when choosing panels?
Definitely, balance is key. You want calming features, soothing textures, slow visual movement, but also some controlled stimulating elements like lights or gentle sounds. The goal is to avoid overstimulation in shared treatment spaces. Modular systems are great because you can swap out elements and adjust as your caseload changes. You can start with mostly tactile and fine motor panels, then maybe add one premium visual feature in a supervised sensory room.
That's a really practical tip. Modular gives you flexibility. Speaking of flexibility, are there brands or types of panels that are particularly well suited for therapy centers?
Yeah, clinic-grade brands like Haba Pro offer modular sensory learning walls with mix-and-match panels, tactile, fine motor, mazes that are durable and have clean aesthetics. You also have brands like Bumblebee Smart, which focus on regulation and fine motor skills for high-traffic environments. For more specialized sensory room features, like LED bubble walls or infinity tunnels, brands like Xperia are popular, but those are best used in supervised specialty spaces rather than everyday traffic areas. The key is matching the panel type to the space and the therapeutic goals.
Right. So, to everyone listening who works in a therapy center or is considering adding sensory wall panels, think about your specific population, your space, and your goals. Bring your OTs into the decision. And remember, these panels are evidence based tools. They target fine motor skills, sensory regulation, and emotional control in ways that can really support full therapy programs.
Couldn't have said it better. The ultimate goal is creating an environment where children feel safe, engaged, and supported. Sensory wall panels help children develop foundational skills, manage anxiety, and participate more fully in their therapy, all in a natural, non-pharmacological way.
That's a wrap for today. Thanks so much for joining us and sharing your insights. To everyone tuning in, whether you're a therapist, a clinic administrator, or just someone curious about how we can better support kids with special needs, I hope this conversation gave you some actionable ideas. Until next time, take care.